Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. Today, we have a very interesting topic. It is called the art of saying no. Many people find it hard to say no. Maybe you feel this way too. Do you always say yes, even when you don't want to? Today, we will talk about why saying no is important. We will also share some easy tips. I am very excited about this topic. I think it can help many people in daily life. So let's start our conversation today. I hope you enjoy it and learn something new and useful.
Hi, everyone. Yes, this is a great topic, Julia. I think saying no is a real skill. Many people, including me, sometimes say yes too much. We say yes to work, to friends, and to family, but sometimes we feel tired and stressed. Learning to say no can help us feel better. It can also help us have more free time. Today, we will give simple examples. We will also give useful phrases you can use. I think this episode will really help our listeners. Let's begin talking about why saying no is so hard for many people.
So, John, let's start with a simple question. Why do you think saying no is hard for people? I think many people want to be nice. They don't want to make others sad or angry. Some people are afraid of losing friends. Others feel guilty when they say no. I remember I used to say yes to everything. I was always busy and tired. Then I learned that saying no is okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. What do you think about this, John? Do you also find it difficult sometimes?
Yes, I understand this very well, Julia. I think fear is a big reason. People are afraid of disappointing others. They also worry about what people will think of them. Some people think saying no is rude, but actually, saying no can be polite too. It depends on how you say it. I used to say yes to every request at work. I felt very tired every single day. Now, I choose more carefully. I say no when I really need to. This has made my life much easier and calmer.
That's a great point, John. How you say no really matters a lot. You can say no with kindness. You don't need to be rude or angry. For example, you can smile and speak softly. You can also explain your reasons simply. People usually understand if you are honest. I think honesty is very important here. When we are honest, people respect us more. They understand that we have limits too. Everyone has limits, and that is completely normal. We are not machines, we are humans with feelings.
Exactly, Julia. I like the word limits. Everyone needs limits in life. Without limits, we can feel very tired. We might feel angry or stressed too much. This is not good for our health. Saying no helps us protect our time. It also helps us protect our energy. I think of it like a cup of water. If the cup is full, it cannot hold more. Our energy is similar to that cup. When we say no, we protect our cup from overflowing every single day.
I really love that comparison, John. It makes the idea very easy to understand. Let's talk about some real situations now. Imagine your friend asks you for help, but you are already very busy today. What can you say in this situation? You could say, "I'm sorry, I can't help today. I have too much work right now." This is simple, honest, and polite. You don't need a long explanation at all. Short and clear answers are usually the best choice for these moments.
That's a very good example, Julia. Short answers are easier to say. They're also easier for people to understand. Long explanations can sometimes feel like excuses, and excuses can make you feel more guilty. I always try to keep my answers short. For example, I might say, "Not today, sorry." Or I could say, "I don't have time this week." These phrases are simple, but very clear. People usually accept them without any problem at all.
Yes, simple phrases work really well, John. Let's think about saying no at work now. This can feel more difficult sometimes. Maybe your boss asks you to do extra work. You already have a lot on your plate. You could say, "I can't take this today. My schedule is already very full." This shows respect, but also honesty. Your boss will probably understand your situation. Remember, saying no at work is not bad. It shows that you manage your time well.
That's true, Julia. Good time management is important. If we say yes to everything, we get overwhelmed. Then our work quality can become worse. It's better to do fewer things well than to do many things poorly and quickly. I learned this lesson after feeling very stressed. Now I choose my tasks more carefully. I also talk to my boss openly. I explain what I can and cannot do. This makes our work relationship much stronger and clearer.
That's very wise, John. Communication really is the key here. Now let's talk about saying no to friends. This can feel emotional for many people. Maybe your friend invites you to a party, but you are tired and want to rest. You could say, "Thank you for inviting me. I need to rest tonight. Sorry." A good friend will understand your feelings. True friends respect your need for rest. If they get angry, that says more about them.
I agree completely, Julia. True friends will always understand you. They won't be angry about small things like this. Saying no sometimes actually helps friendships. It shows that you're being honest with them. Friendships built on honesty are usually stronger. If you always say yes but feel unhappy, that is not a healthy friendship. It's okay to protect your own time. Your friends should respect your boundaries and feelings too, always.
Now, let's talk about family, John. This can be even harder sometimes. Family members can feel closer than friends. Saying no to parents feels difficult for many people, but it is still important to try. For example, maybe your mother asks for a favor. You are busy with your own plans today. You could say, "I can't today, but tomorrow is fine." This shows you still care about helping them, but you also protect your own time and needs.
Yes, family situations need extra care sometimes. We love our family very much, of course, but we also need to protect ourselves. Saying no does not mean we don't care, it simply means we have limits too. I try to be gentle when I say no to family. I use a soft voice and kind words. I also offer another time if I can. This helps them feel respected and not ignored. Balance is very important in family relationships too.
Balance, yes, that's a perfect word, John. Let's talk about guilt now for a moment. Many people feel guilty after saying no. This feeling is very common and normal. But guilt does not mean you did something wrong. It just means you care about others' feelings. Over time, this guilty feeling gets smaller. The more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. I remember feeling very guilty at first. Now I feel much more comfortable and confident.
That's a good point about practice, Julia. Saying no is really like a skill, like riding a bike or cooking food. At first, it feels strange and uncomfortable, but with practice, it becomes much easier. I suggest starting with small situations first. For example, say no to a small request. Then slowly try bigger situations over time. This helps build your confidence step by step. Soon, saying no will feel natural and simple.
I love that idea, John, starting small. Let's also talk about useful phrases now for a moment. Here are some phrases everyone can use. "I appreciate the offer, but I can't." "That doesn't work for me right now." "I need to think about it first." "Thank you, but I'll pass this time." These phrases are polite and also clear. You can choose the one that fits best. Practicing these phrases can make saying no feel much easier in real conversations.
Those are great phrases, Julia. Very useful. I also like saying maybe another time. This keeps the door open a little. It shows you are not completely closing off. Another good phrase is, "I'm not able to right now." This is soft, but still very clear. I think tone of voice matters a lot too. A calm and friendly tone helps people accept your no. Even a hard no can sound kind with the right tone and warmth.
Yes, tone of voice is really important, John. Body language matters too, I think. If you smile while saying no, it helps. If you look nervous, people might push more. Standing calmly and speaking clearly shows confidence. Confidence helps people accept your answer faster. I also think eye contact is helpful. It shows honesty and respect at the same time. These small things can make a big difference in how your no is received by others.
That's very true, Julia. Body language matters. I also want to talk about alternatives now. Sometimes you can say no, but offer help differently. For example, I can't do the whole project, but I can help for 1 hour. This shows you still want to help a little. It's not always all or nothing, right? Partial help can be a good middle option. This way you protect your time, but still support others when you truly can.
That's a really helpful idea, John. Partial help. Let's talk about saying no to invitations now. Sometimes we get invited to many events. We cannot attend everything, and that's okay. You could say, I can't make it this time, but thank you for inviting me. This shows appreciation while still saying no. People usually understand busy schedules and personal limits. Nobody can attend every single event in life. It's important to choose events that matter most to you.
Exactly, Julia. We all have limited time. Choosing wisely helps us feel less stressed. I used to say yes to every invitation. I felt exhausted and had no free time. Now I choose events more carefully. I ask myself, do I really want this? If the answer is no, I decline politely. This has given me more time for rest. It has also given me time for things I truly enjoy and value in life.
That's such an important question, John. Do I really want this is powerful. It helps us understand our true feelings. Sometimes we say yes out of habit. We don't even think about our own needs. Pausing before answering can help a lot. You don't need to answer immediately every time. You can say, let me think about it. This gives you time to decide calmly. Quick decisions are not always the best decisions for us.
I completely agree, Julia. Pausing helps a lot. Taking time to think shows wisdom. It's not weak to ask for time. Many successful people take time to decide. This helps them avoid saying yes too quickly. It also helps them avoid regret later on. I always tell my friends this simple tip. You don't owe anyone an instant answer. This phrase has helped me feel less pressured in many different situations over the years.
That's a wonderful phrase, John. Very true. Now let's talk about cultural differences a little. In some cultures, saying no directly is rude. People use softer, indirect language instead. In other cultures, being direct is normal and expected. It's good to understand the culture around you. This helps you say no in the right way. For example, in some places, silence can mean no. In other places, you need clear words. Understanding this helps avoid confusion between people.
That's an interesting point, Julia, about culture. I think it's good to observe first. Watch how people around you communicate. This helps you understand their communication style. Then you can adjust how you say no. Being respectful of culture is very important. It shows you care about the other person. At the same time, your own comfort matters too. Finding a balance between culture and personal needs takes practice and patience over time.
Yes, balance again. That important word, John. Let's talk about children and saying no. Parents often need to say no to kids. This can feel hard because we love them, but limits are important for children too. Saying no teaches children about boundaries. It also teaches them about respect and patience. A calm, clear no works better than yelling. For example, not now, but maybe later. This teaches children that no is normal and okay.
That's a great point about teaching kids, Julia. Children learn by watching their parents too. If parents can say no calmly, kids learn this skill. This is a valuable lesson for their future. It helps them set boundaries when they grow up. I think this connects to everything we discussed today. Saying no is a life skill for everyone. Young or old, we all need this skill. It helps us live happier and healthier lives.
Absolutely, John. It's a lifelong skill. Let's talk about self-care and saying no. When we say no, we protect our energy. This is a form of self-care, really. Self-care isn't selfish, it's actually necessary. We cannot help others if we are exhausted. Think about an airplane oxygen mask rule. You must help yourself first, then others. Saying no helps us keep our own oxygen. Then we can truly help people we care about.
I love that airplane comparison, Julia. It really makes the idea very clear. We often forget to take care of ourselves. We focus so much on helping others, but burnout helps no one in the end. When we are burned out, we cannot function well. We might even feel angry or sad often. Saying no at the right time prevents burnout. It keeps us healthy, happy, and able to help others when we truly want to.
That's so true, John. Burnout is serious. Let's talk about workplace boundaries a bit more. Sometimes coworkers ask for help constantly. It's okay to set clear working hours. You could say, I can help during work hours only. This protects your personal time after work. Many people struggle with this boundary today, especially with phones and constant messages arriving. Setting clear boundaries helps separate work and rest, which improves both areas significantly.
Yes, technology makes boundaries harder sometimes, Julia. We get messages any time of day. It's important to turn off notifications sometimes. You can say, I don't check messages after 6. This is a boundary using your own words. People will slowly learn and respect this rule. At first, some people might not understand, but with consistency, they will adjust their expectations. Consistency is very important when setting any kind of boundary.
Consistency, yes, that's another important word, John. If we say no sometimes, but not always, people get confused. They might keep asking, hoping we say yes. Being consistent helps people understand our limits clearly. It might feel hard at first to keep saying no, but over time it becomes much easier. People will learn to respect your clear boundaries. This makes future conversations simpler and less stressful for everyone involved in the situation.
That's very true, Julia. Consistency really helps. I also want to mention self-confidence here. When we believe our needs matter, saying no becomes easier. Many people think their needs are less important, but everyone's needs and time truly matter equally. Building self-confidence takes time and practice too. Start by reminding yourself, my time is valuable. Repeat this to yourself when it feels hard. This simple reminder can really change your mindset over time.
I really like that reminder, John. My time is valuable. Let's talk about mistakes now, too. Sometimes we say yes and later regret it. This happens to everyone, even experts like us. It's okay to make mistakes while learning. You can learn from each situation and improve. Next time, you might handle it differently. Being kind to yourself is very important here. Nobody says no perfectly every single time in life.
That's a comforting thought, Julia, being kind to ourselves. We should not be too hard on ourselves. Learning any skill takes time and patience. Saying no is truly no different at all. Every mistake teaches us something valuable and new. I still make mistakes sometimes, even now, but I forgive myself and try again next time. This attitude has helped me grow a lot. Patience with yourself makes the whole learning process much easier.
That's wonderful advice, John. Patience with ourselves. Let's talk about helping others say no too. If you have a friend who struggles, support them. You can say, it's okay to say no sometimes. Encouraging words can really help someone feel confident. We can support each other in this journey. Learning together makes the process feel less lonely. Maybe you can practice with a friend together. Role-playing different situations can be helpful and fun.
I love the idea of practicing together, Julia. Role-playing can feel silly, but it helps. You can practice different phrases and situations. This builds confidence before using them in real life. It's like practicing a sport before a real game. The more you practice, the better you become. I think this is a great tip for our listeners. Try practicing with a friend or family member this week and see how it feels.
That's a great suggestion, John. Practicing with someone. Let's summarize some of our main points now. First, saying no is a normal, healthy skill. Second, tone and body language matter a lot. Third, short and honest answers work best. Fourth, practice makes saying no much easier. And finally, protecting your time is a form of self-care. I hope these points are helpful and clear for everyone listening to our podcast today.
Great summary, Julia. I would add one more point. Remember, saying no does not make you selfish. It makes you honest and healthy instead. Everyone has the right to protect their time. I hope our listeners feel encouraged after this episode. Saying no is truly an art, like our title says. It takes practice, patience, and a little courage. But it gets easier with time. I promise everyone listening today.
Well, John, this has been such a great conversation today. I feel like we covered so many useful points. I hope our listeners learned something valuable from this episode. Saying no is not always easy, but it's important. I want to thank everyone for listening to us today. Please remember, your time and feelings truly matter. Practice a little bit every day, and it will become easier. Thank you all so much for joining our podcast.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening today. This was a wonderful topic to discuss with Julia. I hope you feel more confident about saying no. Remember, it's okay to protect your own time. Start small, be kind to yourself, and keep practicing. We really enjoyed sharing these tips with all of you. Please join us again next time for another episode. Until then, take care of yourselves, and goodbye, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Julia. Today, we have a very exciting topic. We will talk about first dates. Yes, first dates. Many people feel nervous before a first date. It is very normal. Today, my friend John is here with me. We will share some easy tips. These tips can help you make a great first impression. If you are single, or if you want to learn English about dating, this podcast is for you. We will use simple words today, so don't worry if your English is not perfect. Let's start. John, are you ready to talk about first dates?
Hi, everyone. I'm John. Yes, Julia, I am ready. This is a great topic. A first date can be scary for many people. Your heart beats fast, your hands feel sweaty. You think, what should I say? But don't worry. Today, we will give you simple and useful tips. These tips are easy to remember. You can use them on your next date. We will talk about clothes, conversation, body language, and more. We want this podcast to be fun and helpful. If you are a beginner in English, you can still understand everything. We use short sentences and easy words. Let's begin with the first tip, Julia. What do you think is the most important thing?
That's a great question, John. I think the most important thing is being on time. When you are late, the other person can feel bad. They might think, this person doesn't care about me. So my first tip is, don't be late. Try to arrive 5 or 10 minutes early. This shows you are polite and responsible. Also, being early gives you time to relax. You can sit down, drink some water, and calm your mind. If you are always late, please try to change this habit before a first date. It can really hurt the first impression. Time is important in every culture, but especially on a first date. What do you think, John?
I totally agree, Julia. Being on time is very important. But sometimes things happen. The bus is late or there is traffic. In this case, you should send a message. Say, I'm sorry, I will be 5 minutes late. This shows respect. It is much better than saying nothing. The other person will understand. Communication is very important even before you meet. Also, I want to add something. If you arrive very early, like 30 minutes early, don't go inside right away. It can feel strange for the other person. Just wait outside or walk around a little, then go in at the right time. Small things like this really matter.
Good point, John. Now let's talk about clothes. What should we wear on a first date? I think you don't need expensive clothes. You just need clean and comfortable clothes. Choose something that makes you feel confident. If you feel good in your clothes, you will act more relaxed. Also, think about the place. If you go to a nice restaurant, wear something a little formal. If you go for a walk in the park, wear something casual. It's also good to be clean and neat. Simple things like clean shoes and nice hair make a big difference. What is your opinion about clothes, John?
I agree with you, Julia. Clothes are important, but they don't need to be fancy. I always say, dress a little better than usual, but still be yourself. Don't wear something completely new and strange. If you feel uncomfortable, it will show on your face. Choose clothes you have worn before, so you know they look good on you. Also, personal hygiene is very important. Take a shower, brush your teeth, and use some nice perfume or cologne. Small details make a big difference on a first date. People notice these small things even if they don't say anything.
First impressions happen very fast, in just a few seconds.
That's so true, John. First impressions happen fast. In just a few seconds, people form an opinion. This is why body language is so important. Let's talk about that now. What is good body language on a first date? I think smiling is number one. A warm smile makes people feel comfortable. It shows you are happy to be there. Also, try to make eye contact. This shows confidence and interest. But don't stare too much, because that can feel strange. Just look at the person naturally while talking. Sit up straight. Don't cross your arms, and try to relax your shoulders. These small actions send a friendly message.
Yes, body language says a lot, even without words. I think a good handshake or a friendly hello is also important at the start. If you don't know the culture's culture, a simple smile and hello is always safe. During the date, try not to check your phone too much. This can make the other person feel unimportant. Put your phone away or on silent mode. Give your full attention to the conversation. Also, nodding your head shows you are listening. Small actions like this make the other person feel valued. Body language can say more than words, so we must be careful and thoughtful about it.
Great tips, John. Now let's talk about conversation topics. What should we talk about on a first date? I think safe topics are best at the beginning. You can ask about hobbies, favorite movies, travel, or food. These topics are light and easy to talk about. Try to ask open questions, not just yes or no questions. For example, ask, "What do you like to do on weekends?" instead of, "Do you like weekends?" Open questions help the conversation continue naturally. Also, share a little about yourself, too. A conversation should not feel like an interview. Both people should talk and listen equally.
That's right, Julia. Balance is very important in conversation. Don't talk only about yourself, and don't stay too quiet either. I also think we should avoid some topics on a first date. For example, don't talk about money, past relationships, or negative things. These topics can make the mood heavy. Instead, keep the conversation light and positive. You can also use humor, but be careful with jokes. Some jokes might not make sense to the other person, especially if English is not their first language. Simple, friendly humor works best. A little laughter can make both people feel more relaxed and happy together.
I love that point about humor, John. Laughing together really helps people connect. Now let's talk about listening. Many people focus on what to say, but listening is just as important. When the other person is talking, give them your full attention. Don't think about your next sentence while they are speaking. Instead, really listen to their words. You can respond with small words like "really" or "that's interesting." This shows you are engaged. Also, try to ask follow-up questions. For example, if they mention travel, ask, "Where did you go? Did you enjoy it?" Good listening makes people feel respected and important.
Absolutely, Julia. Listening well is a skill, and it takes practice. I think many people forget this on a first date because they feel nervous. When we are nervous, we often talk too much. Try to take a breath and slow down. Ask a question, then really listen to the answer. Also, remember small details the person shares. If they mention their dog's name, you can ask about it later in the conversation. This shows you were truly paying attention. People feel special when someone remembers small details about them. It builds trust and connection quickly, even in a short conversation.
That's a wonderful tip, John. Remembering small details really shows you care. Now, let's talk about confidence. Many people feel nervous before a first date, and that is completely normal. But how can we look and feel more confident? I think preparation helps a lot. Think of a few topics to talk about before the date. This can reduce your nervousness. Also, remind yourself that the other person is nervous too. You are not alone in this feeling. Take a few deep breaths before you meet, stand up straight, smile, and speak clearly. Confidence doesn't mean being perfect. It means being comfortable with yourself.
Very true, Julia. Confidence comes from accepting yourself. I always tell my friends, just be yourself. Don't try to be someone different to impress the other person. If you pretend to be someone else, it is hard to keep that up. Also, it's not honest. Real connection happens when two people show their true personality. Of course, be polite and kind, but don't hide who you really are. If the date doesn't go well, that's okay too. Not every date leads to a relationship, and that is completely normal. Every date is also a chance to learn something new.
That's a very healthy way to think about it, John. Not every date needs to be perfect. Now, let's talk about the place for a first date. Where should people go? I think a relaxed place is best, like a coffee shop or a casual restaurant. These places are not too expensive and not too formal. A quiet place is also good because you can hear each other talk. Loud places, like busy clubs, can make conversation difficult. Some people also enjoy a walk in the park for a first date. It's relaxed, and walking together can reduce nervousness. What do you think is a good first date location, John?
I agree with coffee shops and parks, Julia. They are simple, relaxed, and not too expensive. I also think it's good to choose a place both people know or can easily find. This reduces confusion and stress before the date. Avoid very expensive restaurants for a first date. It can create pressure, especially about who pays the bill. Speaking of the bill, let's talk about that too. In many cultures, it's polite to offer to pay or to split the bill. There is no single correct rule, but showing kindness and fairness is always a good idea. Communication about this can also feel modern and respectful.
That's a good point about the bill, John. It really depends on the culture and the people. The most important thing is being polite and not making it awkward. Now, let's talk about ending the date. How should a first date end? I think it's important to say a genuine thank you. You can say, "I really enjoyed talking with you today." This is honest and kind, even if you don't want a second date. If you liked the person, you can say you'd like to meet again. If you're not sure, you can say, "Let's stay in touch." Being honest and respectful at the end leaves a good final impression.
I completely agree, Julia. The ending of the date is just as important as the beginning. Don't make promises you don't plan to keep. For example, don't say, "I'll call you tomorrow," if you don't plan to. This can hurt the other person's feelings later. Honesty is always the best choice, even when it feels a little uncomfortable. Also, a simple hug, handshake, or wave can be a nice way to say goodbye, depending on your culture and comfort level. Remember, first dates are also about learning. Even if it doesn't work out, you can learn something new about yourself and about dating.
Well said, John. Learning from every experience is so important. Let's also talk about nervous habits. Many people bite their nails, shake their legs, or play with their phone when they are nervous. These habits can be distracting for the other person. Try to notice your own habits and control them a little. Instead, keep your hands relaxed on the table and focus on breathing slowly. If you feel very nervous, you can even say it. You can say, "I'm a little nervous, but excited to be here." Honesty about your feelings can actually make the other person feel more comfortable too.
That's a great tip, Julia. Being honest about nervousness can actually break the ice. I also want to mention compliments. Giving a genuine compliment is a nice way to show interest. For example, you can say, "I like your smile," or "You have great taste in music." But remember, the compliment should be honest and not too much. Too many compliments at once can feel strange or even a little fake. One or two thoughtful compliments during the date are perfect. Also, remember to smile when you say them. A compliment with a warm smile feels much more sincere and natural to the other person.
I love that advice, Joan. Genuine compliments really do make people feel special. Now, let's talk about something important: respecting boundaries. On a first date, it's important to respect the other person's comfort level. Don't ask very personal questions too early, like questions about family problems or past relationships. Give the conversation time to grow naturally. Also, respect physical space. Not everyone wants a hug or a kiss on the first date, and that is completely okay. Always ask before doing something like that, or simply wait for a clear sign. Respect builds trust, and trust is the foundation of any good relationship.
Very important point, Julia. Respect really is the foundation of everything. I also think it's good to avoid talking too much about your ex-partner. This can make the date feel uncomfortable, and it might seem like you're not ready to move on. Keep the focus on getting to know the new person in front of you. If they ask, you can answer briefly and then change the topic.
Also, avoid complaining too much about your job, your family, or your life in general. Positive energy is much more attractive than constant complaints. Try to focus on fun and interesting topics instead.
That's excellent advice, John. Positive energy really does make a big difference. Let's talk about small talk, too. Sometimes people don't know how to start a conversation. A simple way is to talk about your surroundings. For example, you can say, "This coffee shop has a nice atmosphere," or "I love the music playing here." These small comments can start a natural conversation. You can also ask simple questions like, "How was your day?" or "Did you find this place easily?" Small talk helps break the initial silence and makes both people feel more relaxed before moving into deeper topics.
Yes, small talk is like a warm-up before the real conversation begins, Julia. I also think humor can help here. A light joke about being nervous or about finding the place can make both people laugh and relax. But remember, don't force the humor. If it doesn't come naturally, that's okay too. Not everyone needs to be funny. Being kind, genuine, and a good listener is much more important than being funny. Some of the best first dates are simple and calm without too many jokes. Just enjoy the moment and let the conversation flow naturally between both people.
That's a great reminder, John. We don't need to try too hard. Let's talk about texting before the date, too. If you're meeting someone from a dating app, a little conversation before the date can help, but don't text too much before meeting. Save some topics for the actual date. If you already know everything about each other through text, the date can feel less exciting. A little mystery is good. Also, confirm the date and time a day before, just to be sure. This shows responsibility and good communication, and it avoids any confusion about the plan on the actual day.
Good advice, Julia. I also think it's smart to plan a date with a clear structure but stay flexible. For example, plan a coffee first, and if it goes well, maybe take a walk after. But don't plan too many activities. If the conversation isn't going well, a long date can feel uncomfortable for both people. A shorter first date is often better. You can always plan a second date if things go well. This also takes pressure off both people. There's no need to spend the entire day together on the first meeting. Quality time matters more than quantity of time.
That's very true, John. Quality really is more important than quantity. Now let's talk about after the date. What should we do after a first date? I think it's polite to send a short message. You can say, "Thank you for today. I had a great time." This is kind, even if you're not sure about a second date. If you want to see them again, you can say so directly. Clear communication saves time and avoids confusion for both people. If you're not interested, it's still kind to send a polite message instead of just disappearing. This is called ghosting, and it can hurt people's feelings.
Yes, ghosting is not a kind way to end things, Julia. It's much better to be honest, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. You can say something simple like, "I enjoyed meeting you, but I don't think we're a match." This is respectful and mature. Most people appreciate honesty, even when the answer is not what they hoped for. It helps both people move forward. Also, remember that rejection is a normal part of dating. Not every date leads to a second date, and that's perfectly okay. Everyone experiences this, so don't be too hard on yourself.
That's such an important reminder, John. Rejection is normal, and it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Let's summarize some key tips so far. Be on time, dress comfortably and neatly, smile, make eye contact, and listen carefully. Choose safe and positive conversation topics, and avoid your phone during the date. Be honest about your feelings, respect boundaries, and end the date with kindness, whether you want to meet up again or not. These simple tips can really help you make a great first impression. Of course, every date is different, but these basic ideas apply almost everywhere, in almost every culture.
Great summary, Julia. I want to add one more thing. Relax and have fun. Sometimes people focus so much on doing everything right that they forget to enjoy the moment. A first date should be enjoyable, not stressful. Remember, the other person wants to have a good time too, just like you. If you both relax and be genuine, the date will naturally go better. Also, remember that you are not just being judged. You are also deciding if you like the other person. Dating is a two-way process. Keep this in mind, and it can really reduce your nervousness before a date.
That's such a helpful perspective, John. Dating really is a two-way process. I also want to mention cultural differences. If you're dating someone from a different culture, be curious and respectful. Ask polite questions if you don't understand something. This shows genuine interest, not rudeness. Also, be patient with language differences if English is not the other person's first language. Speak clearly and slowly if needed, and don't make anyone feel embarrassed about mistakes. Kindness and patience are universal, no matter where you're from. A first date can be a wonderful chance to learn about a different culture and way of life.
Very well said, Julia. Kindness truly is universal. I think it's also good to remember that first impressions can change over time. Sometimes people are nervous on a first date and they don't show their true personality right away. So try not to judge too quickly. Give people a fair chance and be patient too. Of course, if something feels wrong or unsafe, always trust your instincts and prioritize your safety. But for normal nervousness, try to be understanding. Everyone wants to be seen in their best light, and a little patience can help both people feel more comfortable together.
That's a really important point, John, especially about safety. Speaking of safety, let's give a quick tip about that too. When meeting someone for the first time, especially from a dating app, always choose a public place. Tell a friend or family member where you're going and who you're meeting. You can even share your location with them. This is smart and responsible, not something to feel embarrassed about. Trust your feelings, and if something feels wrong, it's okay to leave. Your safety and comfort always come first, before politeness or worrying about what the other person might think.
Great point, Julia. Safety should always come first. I think we've covered so many useful tips today. Let's do a quick review together. First, be on time and dress neatly. Second, use good body language like smiling and eye contact. Third, choose light and positive conversation topics. Fourth, listen carefully and ask good questions. Fifth, be honest about your feelings and respect the other person's boundaries. And finally, relax, be yourself, and remember that it's okay if things don't work out. These tips are simple, but they can truly make a big difference in how a first date goes for everyone involved.
Thank you, John, for that wonderful review. I think this has been such a helpful conversation for our listeners today. Dating can feel scary sometimes, especially in a new language or a new culture. But with these simple tips, it can also be fun and exciting. Remember, everyone feels a little nervous, even people who look very confident. The most important thing is being kind, honest, and respectful. A great first impression doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be genuine. We hope these tips help you feel more confident before your next first date. John, do you have any final words?
Yes, Julia. I just want to say, don't be too hard on yourself. Dating is a learning process for everyone, no matter their age or experience. Every date, good or bad, teaches you something new about yourself and about people. So relax, smile, and enjoy the experience. Thank you to everyone listening today. We hope you learned some useful English words and some useful dating tips too. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. And remember, the most important date you'll ever have is being comfortable with yourself first. Julia, thank you for this wonderful conversation today.
Thank you, John, and thank you to all our listeners. We hope you enjoyed today's episode about first dates and first impressions. Remember our simple tips: be on time, be kind, listen well, and most importantly, be yourself. We truly believe that everyone deserves a genuine connection, and it often starts with a great first date. Please join us next time for another fun and easy English podcast episode. Until then, take care of yourselves and good luck on your next date. Goodbye, everyone, and see you soon.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast today. We really enjoyed sharing these first date tips with you. Remember, practice makes progress, both in English and in dating. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how we all learn and grow. We hope you feel more confident and prepared now. Take these simple tips, be genuine, and most importantly, have fun. Thank you again for joining Julia and me today. See you in our next episode. Take care, stay positive, and goodbye for now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. My name is Julia, and I am here with my friend John. Today, we have a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about sleep. Yes, sleep. Many people do not think sleep is important, but sleep is very, very important for our body and our mind. In this episode, we will talk about why we need sleep, what happens when we do not sleep, and how we can sleep better. I think this topic will help many of our listeners. So, John, are you ready to start this conversation with me today?
Hi, everyone. Yes, Julia, I am ready. This is a great topic for me because I love to sleep. But really, I think many people do not sleep enough. They work late, they watch TV, or they use their phone at night. I do this too sometimes. Sleep is something we do every day, but we do not often think about it. I want to learn more about why sleep is so important for our health. I'm sure our listeners want to know this too. Let's start with a simple question. Julia, why do you think sleep is important?
That is a great question, John. Sleep is important because our body needs to rest. When we sleep, our body can repair itself, our muscles relax, and our brain can rest too. During the day, we use a lot of energy. We walk, we talk, we think, and we work. At night, sleep gives our body time to recover. Without good sleep, our body cannot fix the small problems that happen every day. This is why doctors always say that adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. It is not just about feeling tired, it's about our health.
I understand. So sleep is like a repair time for the body. That makes sense to me. I also read that sleep helps our brain. Is that true, Julia? I think when we sleep, our brain organizes all the information from the day. For example, if I learn a new word in English, maybe my brain saves this word while I sleep. Is this correct? I remember after a good night of sleep, I can think more clearly, but after a bad night of sleep, I feel confused and I cannot concentrate well. My memory is not good on those days.
Yes, John, you are right. Sleep is very important for the brain and for memory. When we sleep, our brain takes the new information from the day and saves it in our long-term memory. This is why students should sleep well before an exam. If you study all night and do not sleep, your brain cannot save the information well. So sleeping is actually a very good study strategy. Also, sleep helps us solve problems. Have you ever had a difficult problem and after sleeping, you suddenly had a good idea? This happens because the brain keeps working while we sleep.
Oh yes, this happened to me many times. Sometimes I have a problem at work and I cannot find the answer. Then I go to sleep, and in the morning I suddenly know what to do. It's amazing. Now I understand why this happens. Julia, what happens to our body if we do not sleep enough? I know it makes us tired, but are there other problems too? I think many people do not know the real dangers of not sleeping. Can you explain this to our listeners? I think this information can help people understand why sleep is so necessary.
Of course, John. When we do not sleep enough, many bad things can happen to our body. First, our immune system becomes weak. This means we can get sick more easily, like catching a cold. Second, we can gain weight because sleep affects the hormones that control hunger. When we are tired, we often want to eat more sugar and unhealthy food. Third, not sleeping enough is bad for our heart. It can increase the risk of heart problems in the future. And finally, it affects our mood. When we do not sleep well, we can feel angry, sad, or stressed easily.
Wow, I did not know sleep could affect so many things. I always thought sleep only affects our energy level, but now I understand it affects our weight, our heart, and even our emotions. This is really important information. I think I need to change my habits. Sometimes I stay awake very late because I am watching videos on my phone. After hearing this, I really want to sleep earlier. Julia, how many hours of sleep do children need every night?
I know adults need 7 to 9 hours, but what about children and teenagers? Is the number different for them?
That is a good question. Children and teenagers need more sleep than adults because their bodies and brains are still growing every single day. Babies need about 14 to 17 hours of sleep every day. Young children need about 10 to 13 hours. Teenagers need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. This is more than adults need. Unfortunately, many teenagers do not get enough sleep because of school, homework, and phones. This can affect their learning and their mood at school. Parents should help their children have a good sleep schedule with a regular bedtime every night.
That makes sense. Growing bodies need more rest and energy. I remember when I was a teenager, I always wanted to sleep late and wake up late too. My parents always told me to sleep earlier, but I did not listen. Now I understand why they said that. Julia, let's talk about the sleep cycle. I heard there are different stages of sleep. Can you explain what happens during the night when we sleep? I think many people do not know that sleep has different parts, and each part is important for a different reason. Can you tell us more?
Sure, John. Sleep has different stages, and we go through these stages many times during the night. First, there is light sleep. This is when we start to relax, and it is easy to wake up. Then we go into deep sleep. This is very important because our body repairs muscles and tissues during this stage. Deep sleep also helps our immune system. After deep sleep, we enter REM sleep. REM means rapid eye movement. This is when we dream. REM sleep is important for our brain and our memory. During the night, we repeat these stages about 4 or 5 times.
That is very interesting. I did not know sleep had so many stages. So if we wake up in the middle of the night, we might not complete all these stages. Is that why sometimes I feel very tired even after sleeping for 8 hours? Julia, what can stop us from having good sleep? I think many people have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Can you talk about some common problems? I want to know why some people cannot sleep well even when they have enough time to sleep. This is a problem for many of our listeners, I think.
Yes, that is exactly right, John. If your sleep is interrupted, you might not get enough deep sleep or REM sleep, so you feel tired even after 8 hours. There are many reasons why people cannot sleep well. Stress and worry are very common reasons. When our mind is busy thinking about problems, it is hard to relax and fall asleep. Drinking coffee or tea late in the day can also cause sleep problems because caffeine keeps us awake. Using phones or computers before bed is another big problem. The light from screens can confuse our brain and make it think it is still daytime.
I think this is my problem. I always use my phone before I go to sleep. I check messages, watch videos, and sometimes I do not stop until very late. Maybe this is why I sometimes cannot fall asleep quickly. Julia, what can we do to sleep better? I think our listeners want some practical tips. Can you share some easy ways to improve our sleep? I want to know simple things we can do every day, not complicated things. I think small changes in our daily routine can make a big difference. Please tell us your best advice.
Of course, here are some simple tips. First, try to go to bed at the same time every night. This helps your body have a regular sleep schedule. Second, avoid using your phone or computer at least 30 minutes before bed. You can read a book instead. Third, keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. This helps your body relax. Fourth, do not drink coffee or tea in the evening. Fifth, try to exercise during the day, but not right before bed. Exercise helps us sleep better, but doing it too late can make it harder to relax. These simple changes can really help.
These are very helpful tips, Julia. I think I will try to follow them starting tonight. I will put my phone away earlier and maybe read a good book instead. That sounds relaxing. Julia, is it true that naps during the day are good for us? I sometimes take a short nap after lunch, especially on weekends. Is this a good habit or is it bad for our night sleep? I have heard different opinions about naps, so I'm not sure what is correct. Can you explain the truth about napping? I think many people wonder about this too.
Great question, John. Naps can be good for us, but it depends on how long we nap. A short nap, about 20 to 30 minutes, can help us feel more energetic and focused. This is called a power nap. It does not usually affect our night sleep. However, if we take a long nap, for example, 2 or 3 hours, or if we nap very late in the afternoon, it can make it harder to fall asleep at night. So, if you want to take a nap, keep it short and try to nap earlier in the day, not close to evening.
That is good to know. I usually take short naps, so I think that is okay for me. Julia, what about food and drinks? Does what we eat affect our sleep? I know coffee can keep us awake, but are there foods that help us sleep better? I'm curious because I want to eat the right things in the evening. Some people say warm milk helps you sleep. Is this true, or is it just an old story that people believe? I want to know if there's real science behind this idea, or if it is just a myth.
Yes, food can affect our sleep, John. Warm milk actually can help a little because it contains a substance called tryptophan, which can help our body relax. Other foods like bananas, almonds, and herbal tea like chamomile tea can also help us feel calm before bed. On the other hand, we should avoid heavy, spicy, or very sugary food before bedtime because it can make our stomach uncomfortable and disturb our sleep. Also, drinking too much water right before bed is not a good idea because we might wake up during the night to use the bathroom. Balance is important.
This is all very useful information, Julia. I think I learned a lot today about food and sleep. Now let's talk about something different. Does the temperature of the room really matter for sleep? I always thought a warm room is more comfortable, but maybe I am wrong. Can you tell us the best temperature for sleeping? I think many people do not think about this, but maybe it is more important than we realize. I'm curious to know the ideal temperature range that helps our body relax and fall asleep faster at night. Please explain this to us.
Actually, John, a cool room is better for sleep than a warm room. Our body temperature naturally drops a little when we sleep, so a cool room, around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or about 18 degrees Celsius, helps this process happen naturally. If the room is too hot, it can be uncomfortable and we might wake up during the night. That is why many people sleep better in winter with a light blanket than in a very warm summer night. Fresh air and good ventilation in the bedroom can also help. Try opening a window a little before you sleep, if possible.
That is interesting. I did not know a cool room could help us sleep better. I always sleep with a warm blanket, even in summer, so maybe this is not the best idea. Julia, let's talk about exercise again. You mentioned exercise helps sleep. Can you explain more about this connection? I know exercise is good for our health in general, but I want to understand exactly how it helps with sleep. Does it matter what type of exercise we do? For example, is running better than walking, or does any kind of movement help us sleep better at night?
Good question, John. Exercise helps sleep in many ways. When we exercise, our body uses energy, so we naturally feel more tired later and ready to rest. Exercise also reduces stress and anxiety, which are common reasons people cannot sleep well. Any type of exercise can help, whether it's running, walking, swimming, or yoga. The important thing is to be active regularly. However, as I said before, it is better to exercise earlier in the day. If you exercise very close to bedtime, your body temperature and heart rate increase, and this can make it harder to fall asleep quickly.
I see, so the timing of exercise is very important, not just doing it. I usually go to the gym in the evening after work. Maybe I should try to change my schedule and exercise earlier, like in the morning. Julia, do you think sleep affects children's growth? I heard that children grow while they sleep. Is this true, or is it just something parents say to make children go to bed early? I'm curious about the real connection between sleep and physical growth in young children and teenagers. Can you explain this to our listeners today, please?
That is actually true, John. It is not just something parents say. Our body releases growth hormone mainly during deep sleep. This hormone is very important for children because it helps their bones and muscles grow. This is why children and teenagers need more sleep than adults, as we talked about earlier. If a child does not sleep enough, it can affect their physical growth and their development. This is one more reason why parents should make sure their children have a regular and healthy sleep schedule every night, especially during school days when children need to wake up early in the morning.
Wow, that is really important information for parents to know. I will remember this. Julia, what about sleep and mental health? We talked about mood earlier, but can you explain more about the connection between sleep and things like stress, anxiety, or depression? I think mental health is a very important topic today, and many people struggle with these problems. I want to understand how sleep or the lack of sleep can affect our mental health. Is poor sleep a cause of these problems, or is it more like a result of these problems? Maybe it is both. Please explain.
That is a very good point, John. It is actually both. Poor sleep can cause mental health problems, and mental health problems can also cause poor sleep. It is like a circle. When we do not sleep enough, our brain cannot manage emotions well. This can make us feel more anxious, stressed, or sad. At the same time, if someone feels very stressed or anxious, it becomes harder for them to relax and fall asleep. This is why doctors often say that good sleep is one of the most important things for mental health, along with healthy food, exercise, and social connections with family and friends.
This makes a lot of sense. I think many people do not realize how connected sleep and mental health really are. Julia, is there a difference between men and women when it comes to sleep? I'm just curious about this. Do men and women need the same amount of sleep, or is there a difference? I've never really thought about this question before, but now that we are talking about sleep, I'm curious to know if there are any differences between how men and women sleep or how much sleep each group typically needs to feel healthy and rested.
That is an interesting question, John. In general, men and women need a similar amount of sleep, around 7 to 9 hours for adults. However, some studies show that women may need a little more sleep than men, maybe about 20 minutes more on average. This might be because women's brains work a little differently, or because of hormonal changes during their life, like during pregnancy or menopause. Also, women report having sleep problems, like insomnia, more often than men. But every person is different, so the most important thing is to listen to your own body and give it the rest it needs.
That is good advice, Julia. Every person is different, so we should not compare ourselves too much to others. Let's talk about something practical now. What should we do if we cannot fall asleep at night? Sometimes I lie in bed for a long time and I cannot sleep. It is very frustrating. Do you have any advice for people who are lying awake in bed and cannot fall asleep? I think this happens to almost everyone sometimes, so I'm sure our listeners would like to know what to do in this difficult and frustrating situation during the night.
Yes, this happens to many people, John. If you cannot fall asleep after about 20 minutes, it is better to get out of bed instead of lying there and feeling frustrated. You can do a quiet, relaxing activity like reading a book with soft light or listening to calm music. Do not look at your phone because the light can make it harder to sleep. Breathing exercises can also help. Try breathing in slowly for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and breathing out for 4 seconds. This can help calm your mind and body. When you feel sleepy again, go back to bed.
That breathing exercise sounds very helpful. I will try it tonight. Julia, do you think technology like sleep apps or smartwatches can really help us sleep better? I see many people using apps to track their sleep these days. Do these tools actually work, or are they just for fun? I'm curious because I have a smartwatch and it shows me information about my sleep every morning, but I'm not sure how accurate or useful this information really is. Can you share your opinion about sleep technology and whether it is truly helpful for improving our sleep quality?
That is a good question, John. Sleep apps and smartwatches can be helpful because they give us information about our sleep patterns, like how long we sleep and how many times we wake up. This information can help us understand our habits better. However, these tools are not always 100% accurate. They should be used as a general guide, not as perfect medical information. I think the most useful thing about these apps is that they remind us to think about our sleep and make small changes. but listening to how our body feels is still very important too.
That makes sense, Julia. Technology can help us, but we should not depend on it completely. We should also listen to our own body and how we feel. Julia, before we finish, can you give us a short summary? What are the most important things we learned today about sleep? I think our listeners would like a simple summary of all the great information you shared with us in this episode. This will help them remember the most important points about why sleep is so important and how they can improve their own sleep starting today, right after listening to our podcast.
Of course, John. Today we learned that sleep is very important for our body and our brain. Sleep helps our body repair itself, helps our brain organize memories, and helps us solve problems. Not sleeping enough can cause health problems, weight gain, and mood problems. Children and teenagers need more sleep than adults because their bodies are growing. We also learned some simple tips, like having a regular bedtime, avoiding phones before bed, keeping the bedroom cool and dark, and avoiding caffeine in the evening. Exercise, healthy food, and relaxing activities like reading can also help us sleep better every night.
Thank you, Julia. This was a really helpful summary. I learned so much today, and I am definitely going to change some of my habits, starting with putting my phone away earlier tonight. I hope our listeners also learned a lot about why sleep is so important for our health, our brain, and our happiness. Sleep is something we all do every day, but we do not always think about how important it really is. I think today's episode gave us many simple and practical ideas that everyone can use to improve their sleep quality, starting from tonight if possible.
Yes, John, I agree completely. Sleep is truly one of the most important parts of a healthy life, just like eating well and exercising. I hope everyone listening today will try at least one small tip from our conversation, like going to bed a little earlier or turning off their phone before sleeping. Small changes can really make a big difference over time. Thank you all so much for listening to our podcast today. We really enjoyed talking about this important topic with you. Please remember to rest well tonight, and we will see you again in our next episode soon.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking about sleep with Julia and with all of you. Remember, good sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity for a healthy and happy life. Take care of your body by giving it the rest it deserves every single night. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family, especially if they need better sleep habits too. Do not forget to follow our podcast for more interesting topics like this one. Sleep well tonight, everyone, and we will talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.